Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, once again to the DreamHack Open 2015 Stockholm. We get a cheeky shot of one of our next Protoss players that'll be competing here. Of course, that is Harstem, who'll be going up against sOs in our last best of 3 of the evening. I'm Nathanius. Joining me on the desk again, the two Protoss brothers, Roddy, Todd.
Are you okay this time?
I'm feeling totally fine. Everything is awesome.
No tears?
No tears. Over Russell.
Only dreams.
Alright guys, so there's actually a lot to talk about. As Apollo just showed me an update in the corner of the screen, Linoc just beat Dark. So that means that when it comes to, who can take that 16th spot to go to BlizzCon, it's on Hyun's hands. Of course, Hyun will play tomorrow. He will go up against Rain, as we saw in the bracket. But it's going to be very nice for this man, sOs. He has nothing to worry about anymore, He's just going to play this tournament, going to try to win as much money as he can. But he can, of course, improve his ranking as well for who he could potentially play in BlizzCon. And you could say the more points you get, the easier it becomes.
It's going to be funny to see Fantasy as well, like cheering against Hyun. I saw him actually earlier, but behind one of the players, kind of hating already a little bit.
I think Fantasy right now should just walk over to Linoc and give him a kebab. Just be like, here you go, sir. And Linoc's going to be like, what? Why? It's like, you just potentially won me at least $5,000 or more, because that's what you get when you make it to BlizzCon.
Yeah, there's quite a bit at stake, and I just have to say, that's got to be such a nice feeling for this man, sOs. Fantasy being knocked out means he can't advance over him, which means he can't push him into that elimination slot. So sOs is 99% right now, totally safe for the most part for BlizzCon.
He can get an easier opponent, though, if he keeps on scoring points. If we were to freeze the top 16 ranking right now, sOs will be playing against Maru. Safe to say there are easier matchups that you can get. I think if he wins at least like 1 or 2 matches, there is a chance he can play Parting. Then if he keeps on winning and maybe wins the tournament, he might end up playing Rain. So I feel like personally, it's probably you would much rather play PvP than playing against Maru. Like you'd have to be suicidal to
especially
play
Maru on BlizzCon. Let's not forget about that. Like that's going to be probably the best Maru we've seen all year. This hasn't truly been the year of Maru yet. But anyway, we're speculating. We're getting way ahead of ourselves. What matters right now is that Harstem just showed us he's aiming for the 2-0 against potentially, I would say, one of the hottest players on the planet right now. Maybe even the hottest, because this guy has been on fire recently.
Not invincible though. Bling. We all have to remember Bling. He put up a hell of a good fight against sOs back when they played not too long ago.
Yeah, and Gfinity Spring, Blink said he was going to 2-0 him, and he absolutely demolished sOs on Expedition Lost. He had him, and the best part after that happened was Blink's reaction in game number 1. It's like, yeah, it's like kind of just, it went how I thought it would go. Everything was normal. If nothing crazy happens over here, he said, I'm going to 2-0 sOs, and he took the first map, so shout out to my buddy Blink.
Yeah, I mean, that sOs, though, he's so hot right now. It's going to be really difficult to stop him. But Harstem, I think this is a big opportunity. Like, if you win a match like this, like, everything else aside, that's got to say a lot for him for at least having a spectacular finish to the year, however further he might make it.
I agree with you, but I do find it weird that you call sOs hot when we just talked about Blink, though.
You win that one. Roddy, he's Dutch. You're Dutch. Talk to me.
Yes, no, absolutely. That would be a win that we are going to talk about for a long, long time. It will be one of those moments. Well, remember when Harstem beat sOs at DreamHack over in Stockholm? Because if you take a look at the last 15 official matches that sOs has played, I don't have the information in front of me right now, but he's on a ridiculous streak. He may have dropped 1 or 2 best of ones in between, but recently all killed KT Rolster. I mean, you have to be from another planet to pretty much do that, especially when your team is down 0-3. Like, are you kidding me? And of course, he won the Masters Gaming Arena in Seattle, where he dropped 1 map in I believe 5 best of 3s and 1 best of 5. Like that's insane. That's just not normal anymore.
Crushed Innovation, then crushed Solar in the grand finals. Harstem was actually there at this tournament, and to qualify for it, he beat Lilbo. So Harstem's PvP is definitely pretty good as well, but is it good enough to beat the master himself?
I mean, I would say right now, if you're Harstem and you look at this PvP, cut a couple corners here and there, right? Like, don't try to be safe against everything. Just roll the dice a tiny bit. You don't have to suicide. Don't go for a 10-gate, 3-gate or something uninspiring like that.
Yeah.
Now we're talking, Todd. Like that's much more in my ballpark.
Yeah.
Now, but you know what I mean, right? Like, don't try to cover yourself against every potential scenario. Just roll the dice a little bit.
Yeah, I'd say take a couple of risks. I'm all about the. I'll be cheering for the Dutchie as well during this one as well.
We saw it with Lilbao against Rain, for instance, at Home Story Cup, where Lilbao also played a tiny bit greedy. But, if it's the same scenario, if you both do the same thing, but you just did it a little bit greedier, your blink is going to be ready 10 seconds quicker, you get a fight, you're able to blink back your first stalkers, or, you drop You made 2 probes less, so you have that extra stalker or 2 just a little bit quicker, and then suddenly you just jump on your opponent. And PvP, well, if you lose the first fight, you're gonna have a very hard time in general turning things around.
Yeah, I know you guys could talk about PvP all day. We'll let you get to it, guys. We're gonna go into our last best of 3 of the night. It's going to be Harstem versus sOs.
And we're back already. This was a fast one. Look at sOs. He's all happy here. Of course, he's playing in a PvP. It's time to send that one of these first probes across the map and do what he does best, yeah, potentially.
Of course he's happy, Todd. He's going to BlizzCon for sure. And he's like, you know what? While I'm going to BlizzCon, let's get a couple of extra points and let's secure myself a little bit of extra prize money as well. I like that you pointed out, Todd, because I'm one of those guys that forgets about how cheesy sOs can be in this matchup.
But actually, we said it's 99%, so there is a chance he doesn't go. I think if he loses now and then Hyun wins the whole thing, potentially.
Yeah, but then I believe Fantasy is still below him, so I don't really understand how that happens. And suddenly the camera is back to us. Why not?
Surprise!
We were already getting in our casting groove. You know, that's how we cast StarCraft, guys. Unless things get very excited.
All the way down there?
Yeah, then we lean back up again. Kind of like in the club, Dot. You know, you lean forward a little bit until things really spice up, and then you just embrace it.
What is happening with you? You're finally embracing this hashtag.
Yeah, well, I've given up. It's out of control. I've seen Twitch yet. There's no stopping it. Alrighty, we are loaded into Coda. As always, of course, Coda has to be our first map over here for this best of 3. I believe it's the second last best of 3 of the day, though, because I think we're going to have Armani versus Snoot afterwards. So the best host in the industry, Nathanias, was wrong. But as you guys can see, we are looking at the main base of this incredibly skillful Protoss player. It is sOs.
That's why it's only the 7th best host in StarCraft 2.
No.
Red Eye, Chobra, Apollo, Tasteless, In Control, Lycan. Then I'm not sure. There's someone. And starting in the top left-hand side here of Coda, playing as the blue Protoss, it is Invasion Gaming's Harstem with the Gateway 13, so not quite a cheeky Gateway 11 there.
The last time when I saw Harstem do this 2-0 thing, I think he lost 2-0 incredibly quick. Where was this? Well, was it...
Every time he was on camera and we told him he's on camera?
I think it was at WCS, right? He did it against Firecake when he showed the sign. He's like, I'm going to 2-0 him. When he was sitting in the booth, and then he lost 0-2 against Burrowed Roaches and Speedling all in. That was a very unfortunate moment.
Not quite the 2-0 anticipated, yeah?
Well, it was a 2-0, just not the 2-0 he was hoping for. You know, it happens. I do like it when people show a little bit of personality. I'm personally the guy that, you know, I really believe in karma in those moments, so I would never make a cocky statement because I'm afraid it would backfire. Yeah. It's better to be humble and surprised. Yeah,
you'd rather whine instead like you did in that poker tournament when we played Heads Up.
No, Todd, are you still salty about that one? How deep are the wounds, Todd?
Very deep. Never gonna recover from this one.
Alrighty, both gases were already up and running for Harstem, while sOs took his second gas a little bit later.
sOs the one scouting for proxies, actually, wanting to make sure he doesn't get a taste of his own medicine here.
Harstem not scouting at all. Surprising against someone like sOs. One would say that sOs has built a little bit of a reputation for himself when it comes to a cheeky gateway on the other side of the map, or 2, or even in your main.
Maybe everybody accepts it, like that if they get proxied, there's nothing they can do anyway. So they don't even check for it.
Yeah, sOs is one of those guys that even when you scout as proxy, you're still going to be in a little bit of trouble. Harstem did start as Zealot though, did you see that? It's like one of those moments where you don't have to scout because you start your Zealot, and if Zealots run into your mineral line, at least you had a Zealot on the way, and if Zealots don't show up, well, then you know that you won't be proxied, so you can just cancel the Zealot.
You can still be in trouble though, sometimes.
Yeah, of course, I totally agree, but it's something at least, you know, it's not, you're not 100% dead immediately.
Since sOs went for a later second gas here, I guess it kind of hints they might want to go for a Twilight Council instead of a Stargate a lot of the time, and Harstem's the one who goes for a Stargate here. So I'm guessing Harstem, most likely an Oracle into Blink play, and sOs straight into Blink.
Yep, I agree with you. I think that's spot on, Todd. And I don't think that's a very bad scenario for Harstem, as long as you keep your Oracle alive, right? This is one of those moments where it's very important that your Oracle doesn't have to do a whole lot of damage. If you can get 2, 3, 4 probe kills, that's amazing. But it's much more important to keep it alive. So you force the Mothership Core to stay at home. And if he doesn't have energy for recall, you force him to keep 2, 3 Stalkers at home. And that's the moment where you maybe, despite the fact that you have a later Twilight Console, can still have more Stalkers out on the map.
Hey, that's usually how you want it to go down, though.
I love how Harstem paused, and sOs is like, yeah, it's very cold. And Harstem is like, no, it's my keyboard, you know. But then he's like, yeah, maybe you're right, sOs, it is kind of cold. It gets very cold in the winters in Korea as well, though. I remember when I was there
first world problem. I wish that back when I was playing, it would have been very cold, yeah.
You would have won so much more, guys. If Todd was in this tournament, he'd be demolishing everyone in Inferno Alliance right now. Be waiting for it. Then one day, Todd, eSports will make its way to Alaska.
eSports will have aircon everywhere, and they'll be like, why was I born 15 years too early?
You know, recently there was a Counter-Strike tournament that was hosted in the open air in Dubai. And at a certain point,
I would have loved that.
They had to move it inside because, you know, the 45 degrees was getting a little too much for everyone out there. But, you know, we could do the opposite way. We could just host an open air tournament in Alaska. Everybody would be freezing their ass off. And you'd maybe just taking it all, Todd.
Yeah, who knows, man. Dubai sounds cool, though, as well.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't even have to bring Darude to have the Sandstorm. Kappa.
Another horrible pun.
I'm trying to catch up on TKL because his bad pun earlier was really bad.
All right.
Bad puns.
sOs is marching across the map with his first Stalker and the Mothership Core. Harstem has to be a tiny bit careful here. His Stalker is a little bit later. sOs, of course, would love to figure out what he's playing against. Now, look at this. I like this by Harstem. Has no idea what he's playing against. Opens up with an Oracle, but just goes for that very quick Nexus immediately. Why not? This is what I mentioned early game. You know, just play a little bit risky. It doesn't have to be super stupid.
And then he's gonna die.
Well, we'll see, Todd. We'll see. I think this build.
I don't see sOs sit back with Blink here.
Well, he
Surely
just
he's
made a
gonna
robo, mate.
sOs.
I actually really like this build by Harstem. Okay, sOs is going to spot it. He will see that the Nexus is there, but I think sOs is just going to drop his own Nexus, Todd.
You think so?
Yes.
Yeah, it's possible.
Pretty damn sure.
The thing is, he's gonna have a photon of a charge to work with, so if he wanted to move across the map, he could have done that, but at the same time, photon of a charge alone or with 1 or 2 Stalker means that in the offense, he's not gonna have enough. So I guess dropping the Nexus is definitely safer. In this case, it's very interesting because Harstem, like, you never see this kind of build. Like, it's very situational, and now it seems like, I guess, for now, he's gonna be okay with it.
I mean, Harstem is even following this up with a robotics facility, Todd, not with a Twilight console. So it's a very unique build over here by Harstem. Maybe something he only brings out when he feels he is a big underdog going into the series.
Maybe talk to Bling
Yeah.
for this series.
Well, Bling would have said, just play solid, mate. Like, just make sure that, you know, just don't die to anything cheesy, and then you got him. He's all yours. That's Sam's approach. And Sam, you know, he had the right approach back then at Gfinity. Got a little bit unlucky in game number 2 and 3, but had sOs on the ropes. Just didn't finish it.
Which is not what everybody can say about sOs in PvP. Even some of the biggest names out there, you know, we all can think back on the Intel Extreme Masters finals where he was playing against quite a few Protoss. Protoss is their hero.
Yeah, sOs is a guy that has never really been well known for his PvP, but he posted some damn good results in this matchup. He's just not known as an expert because he never really had a situation where he truly dominated the matchup. But he, you know, throughout the entirety of his career, he's been winning big PvP series. And
it's weird because it seems like he either does really well or really bad. You remember in Battlegrounds last year, just actually before BlizzCon, he could have scored some serious points there, but he lost to Trap in the group stage, 0-2 and 0-2.
Trap is a beast, though.
He is, but I mean, sOs is supposed to be a pretty huge monster himself, and he's going to want to be aggressive with some of these
Does
stalkers.
sOs have 2 photon overcharges at home right now? He should, right? Because yeah, pretty much has 2 photon overcharges. There we go.
Double
Thank you,
barrel, man.
So he's going to try to make something happen over here with Blink Stalkers. He has an Observer in the mix as well. It's very important he keeps his Observer alive. You can't afford to lose it. Harstem spots it, but sOs is on top of his Observer control. That's pretty much the most important unit right now in the aggression part of sOs.
He's actually going to get into the natural there.
I was like, is that the second Oracle? What Harstem could do is try to tag these Stalkers with Revelation, but it's very risky because if you end up losing your Oracle, you're going to be very sad.
Maybe sOs can trade some Blink cooldown here for the 2 sentries of Harstem, in which case Harstem would not have any hallucinations to send across the map to get any kind of scouting done.
Harstem should get a Zealot or 2, man, because sOs' Stalker count is starting to get very, very high. Photon Overcharge could go down here as sOs spots that Oracle and it goes down immediately. Harstem will fly in, pick up 1 probe and get out of there. I'm a little bit worried. I would really like to see a Zealot or 2 for Harstem.
But there is Photon Overcharge. I think if sOs blinks forward, he's going to lose a lot here himself.
Alright, well, he's going to get one of the sentries like you mentioned.
Potentially, like over time. Harstem, it's very hard actually to micro against this. You need to anticipate what your opponent is going to target and start pulling it back very, very early.
Yeah, Harstem forced to keep a couple of units in the main base as well because he knows sOs has an Observer with his Blink Stalker army. That's why the Zealot and the Immortal was in the main. I mean, if they blink forward, there we go, Todd. Those Immortals were very exposed. Immortal number 1 goes down immediately, and Immortal number 2 is taking a lot of damage there as well. I like this trade by sOs. He should get out of here, of course, soon because there is 1 more Immortal in the mix. He's actually going for the main. I didn't like that choice too much, but overall, I think it's a good trade.
He wasn't looking back at home. sOs loses a bunch of very important probes there, even though he traded against these Immortals. oracles. He's getting chased down as well. He lost so many stalkers. Harstem ahead in probes and in army now, and with earlier Colossus tech.
Yeah, what a great call there by Harstem to not even worry about home anymore. He realized he was safe with Photon Overcharge there, so he just looked on the other side of the map, and he was very active about killing probes, probably queued up a lot of the attacks as well. That went very well for Harstem in the long haul. Losing to Immortal stings a little bit, but not if you can actually kill a bunch of stalkers and kill 9 probes on the other side of the map.
And SOS, he whopped in a lot more stalkers instead of going for his own Colossus.
Well, what I like about this though, Todd, is he's going to try to get one more Immortal, and he does get it. Good job there by SOS, also blinking back a couple of hurt stalkers.
Actually, Harstem against this many stalkers, he needs to be getting more Immortals. He's getting a second Colossus. This is very risky here.
What I'm most worried about though for Harstem, Todd, is that he can't move out. How are you going to move out against this many blink stalkers? You know that they will just blink behind your army. They will try to pick up the probe, slow you down. No.
I think he has to sit back, maybe take a third.
Yeah, and maybe get his own Twilight.
He might just go all in.
Yeah, but you can't, because you're going to lose everything at home. The counterattack potential is way too high.
SOS's micro is so sick.
And he's back up in the work account now as well. Like, yes, he lost 8-9 workers before, but he completely reset the Immortal count. Did he kill 4 Immortals already this game? Can you show us real fun? Okay, 3. Still, though, that's pretty huge.
And 4 more gateways here are going down for Harstem, who wants to crank up the production. What is SOS fishing for? A few zealots. Looks like he attacked his own unit here for a second.
Yeah.
Harstem is going to stabilize here from there, and I think Harstem, he might just be happy to go into a third base from there, but I mean, the mobility of the stalkers is something that's very threatening all the time.
He's ahead in upgrades as well, as Harstem is already starting his +2, as his +1 didn't finish up yet.
Does he sack it? I think he can just sack it.
Yeah, I know. There's barely any anti-air anyway. There's a single Photon Overcharge. It's going to take a while before it kills your Oracle. I'll just go for it. Oh my god, it's a great trade, man. 1 Oracle for 8 probes.
SOS is committing so much to the stalkers there, and I think at this point they're not going to do any more damage here, supposedly.
But they will keep Harstem contained, though. Isn't that the purpose, Todd?
Yeah, but Harstem, from very soon, he's going to have enough army to, I think, move across the map and leave enough back at home to defend against this.
A good trade there again, like you mentioned before. The focus fire really good. Harstem is going to go up to 3 bases for now. I kind of like this decision.
I was wondering what the War Prism was for, but SOS here, he starts the Dark Shrine, and he might be trying to snipe a bunch of observers and try and do a lot of damage here with some kind of...
Oh, imagine if he snipes the observer and then wipes in 4 DTs and kills the Robo.
The thing about this is that there is no way it's going to be spotted. Harstem has nothing across the map. He doesn't have an observer. He has no sentries to send any hallucination in. So there is a chance Harstem really is not prepared for this at all.
Nope. He does have a forge, but there is not a single cannon on the map currently. And I don't think that's something that you necessarily expect now as well. You don't expect Dark Templars. You expect your opponent to try to catch up in the Colossus count, go up to 3 bases, and try to create a small economic lead, but not go for almost like a Hail Mary play, which is what the Dark Templars
Where's the observer
right
of
now.
Harstem? He might have to recall.
It's on top of his army.
Yeah, he might have. Oh, the mothership is not there.
I mean, the Dark Shrine is more than halfway done. Harstem really has to pick up on it soon. It would be very unfortunate. Oh, he gets 1 cannon, but that's going to be a little bit too late. Where is that cannon? It's going to go down in the main base. Poor Harstem. I mean, maybe the Dark Templars will be wiped in on the other side. The thing is, though, SOS is probably going to try to cancel the 3rd base. Harstem has to do a phenomenal job in splitting up his army.
Yeah, the pylon right there. So that's actually going to delay this drop even more. And now the pylon... And the cannon in the main is getting very close to finishing. If this finishes on time, if he surrounds it, if he has zealots...
It's going to finish up, Todd.
Oh my god, Harstem.
What
needs to save it though.
Absolutely phenomenal timing. I think he will save it. All 2 Dark Templars are going to go on top of it immediately, but Harstem can Chrono Boost out an Observer. That's exactly what he does. Photon Overcharge does a little bit of damage on this War Prism. He's going to go for the Robotics Facility, Todd. Will he be able to get it before the Observer is
going across the map.
Oh, I think he's going to get it. Oh my... What? Did it get... Oh my god. There's no Observer.
Yeah, Harstem, he might have to either recall or go all in here. But his mothership is not with his army, so he has to attack, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there is 1 Observer, of course, but it's all the way on the other side of the map. He does have a cannon in his natural now, too.
He's getting an Oracle. Yeah, that's... I guess he maybe could stabilize.
Army supply. 90 against 65. Yeah, that's an excellent save on that Stargate, so he will be able to squeeze out 1 Oracle. I would love to see him kill that Observer there, but still, though, fighting here near Photon Overcharge and Nexus.
I don't think Harstem should engage here. There might be enough for overtime for SOS to counter and kill this entire army.
I would just kill the 3rd
very
base.
far behind. The Oracle helped gets the snipe here on this.
Just kill the 3rd base, right? And then just go back. Then it's still not that bad for Harstem. If you just kill this base and you go back, then you're still in an excellent position.
A Robo is restarting. SOS getting +2 and charge now as well.
Needs to do
a Phoenix, I think, by the way. For this War Prism to deal with it once and for all.
It's something you often forget about, right? If you're a Protoss and it's a hectic game, it's like, oh man, this War Prism is so annoying. And you almost forget the fact that you actually have a Stargate out on the map because you open up with Oracles.
But his DT's been so annoying there.
Man, a very close game, but Harstem in a pretty okay spot. Look at the army supply, 100 against 82. I would love to see him start +3.
Oh, he's in. Cannon's gonna finish.
Well done. Oh man, doesn't lose anything either. Force field's definitely on point. Needs detection over here.
Being on 3 bases with this many more probes, he's going to be in a great position once he finally gets rid of the Dark Templars. Both players are supply blocked, so that's pretty funny actually.
They start, Harstem is starting +3 as well, and he's getting a second robot at the same time.
Oh, he sees the move out now because of the Zealots being here. This is a huge info here.
Yeah, I don't think that Harstem even has to worry about his army moving out. I would say, yes, please attack me on the other side of the map where I can reinforce quicker.
Are pretty equal. And SOS, I'm assuming, because he's getting a Templar Archives here, there is a chance he wiped in a bunch of units, but it looks like he doesn't not want to commit here just yet.
Still though, right now the economy is better for Harstem because he has a few more workers and he's mining of 3 bases while SOS's 3rd base I don't think is done yet. Come on, make a Phoenix! It's just, I think he's forgetting about it. It's just like you're drawing a blank in this phase in the game and you just completely forget about the fact that you actually have a Stargate.
He needs a Roddy Phoenix here to shut this down once and for all.
Roddy would have 9 Phoenixes right now, Todd.
Hashtag Phoenix in the club.
And no, hey, there we go. Phoenix is on the way. Very well done there by Harstem. It's going to shut down that War Prism, so he doesn't have to worry about it anymore for a little while. I like this, man. For Harstem, he's going to have +3 a little bit quicker. The only thing I'm a little bit worried about is that he won't have Archons, but I think double Robo can absolutely make up for it. And he is on double Robo, correct?
Yeah, but Colossus count, though. He's pretty even. What is it exactly? 6. Oh, SOS has 1 more. So if SOS had attack now, it could have been really dangerous, but Harstem looks like he's going to be allowed to catch up.
2 on the way, I think, is good enough.
And SOS, I think he wants to attack because he never started +3.
And this is very unfortunate. I think SOS is also relying on that Warp Prism still pausing a trap in the main base, but now it's actually not going to happen anymore because of that Phoenix. So SOS, all of its acts are going to be in one basket, and that is this big attack on the right side. And I still think that this is very holdable for Harstem. And how far is that +3 along? Is it done or... Ooh, Chronobus it. There we go.
He's closing in very rapidly here on this. And actually, with the Photon Overcharge he's going to have on the 3rd base here, Harstem potentially could take a great fight. He's quite a bit ahead in army here.
Photon Overcharge, a Time Warp. I think this is a great position for Harstem. He's going to be a little bit out of position. Hold position being used there by SOS. But I think Harstem's army is stronger, man.
SOS doing a fantastic job of trying to force Harstem to attack into him, in which case he will pull back, get a better concave, but right now Harstem's being very patient.
And Harstem knows that his +3 is ready. He might just click on the units right now of SOS and see that SOS is +2, and he might just try to go for it, man. Push the issue, why not?
SOS wants to go for it all the same though, even though he's +2 against +3. He's gotta... If he takes a good fight, like it's all about positioning, you know, Colossus on top of other units, if you can splash everything.
I mean, I like this for Harstem. He's down a little bit in army supply, but we have 29 Zealots for SOS. They should die very, very quickly against all these Colossus, especially these +3 Colossus.
Oh, if he could time warp a bit of this army here, I might be able to force a recall.
I would like to see Harstem kill a couple Zealots from himself.
Has so many more probes, by the way, that he's maxed out. He's going to be much bigger for SOS.
Killed a couple of his own Zealots, and he can make an Archon or 2 more. Has to be very careful that he doesn't get caught out of position too far, but he's getting a lot of very juicy volleys off on these Colossus, and he's just getting more and more Archons himself. Harstem right now quite a bit of free army supply, can warp in more High Templars.
SOS with some insane control. 9 Colossi here for both players. That one Phoenix needs to be the hero, man.
I was about to say, that's so funny, I was about to say he needs to get the Phoenix in the fight and just, you know, tickle away on the low HP Colossus.
If he goes for an engagement here, whoever's more clumped up is going to be in trouble. Yeah, that's actually really good as well.
I think Harstem's army is way bigger, man. It's way better. Look at this, 15 Zealots against 27. I love this for Harstem.
Less army supply, 134 against 146 going to this fight.
No, this is a great army for Harstem. I don't see this going wrong for him. He should be able to reinforce a little bit more as well. Even though the concave is phenomenal for SOS, the engagement indeed is very sick, but it's still +3 against +2. A lot of Colossus. Oh, Dark Templars! Oh my God, where's the Observer? No! Where's the Observer?
There is an Oracle, but he's out of energy because he used it to attack on the ground here.
He's getting in range of a cannon though, but that was very ugly.
SOS is getting right in there. He wants to try and end it. There's going to be detection here thanks to that cannon. Maybe overextending a little bit. Those robos are going to be very exposed, but SOS is too low on hit points, so he has to pull back here for now.
And his pylon is very far away as well. It's very hard to run up that ramp. Man, those Dark Templars, they definitely turned the tide of that battle a little bit, because I felt that SOS was 2 swipes away from losing almost all of his Colossus.
He's just going to keep on chipping away at this base here, and Kite is way back every single time that Harstem comes close to engaging.
Yeah, that is a great Colossus position over there. Of course, he's very strong. Hey, look at that Oracle using Pulsar Beam. Where's the Phoenix, man? Use the Phoenix! There's no anti-air in that army.
Oh no, it's still... Oh my God.
Harstem never uses...
They both started 4th base.
Harstem never uses F2, by the way. It's a key that he never uses. I remember from Homestead Cup where he could have saved a game if he used his Mothership Core, but he thought he didn't have one.
I love how you're trying to argue that F2 is a good thing.
Best thing ever. You inspiring Protoss players out there right now, believe me, press F2 and make it to GM at rapid pace.
You surprised me, Roddy.
With how great my advice is. A couple of stalkers being annoying over here.
It's
What
funny
a tense
actually,
game.
this late into a game, like you never see this kind of stalker whopping, because usually Zealot swapping kind of crush this, but right now Harstem is a little bit broke.
Yeah, I mean he's building a lot of expensive units, right? It's not hard to spend your money as a Protoss in this phase in the game when you're pumping out double Colossus from 2 Robos. That will keep your resources low very, very quickly, especially if you have 7, 8, 9, 10 gateways as well. Let's take a look at the gateway count of both players. It's something I haven't seen in a while. Both only at 7 gates, Letot.
Yeah, because it's been so action-packed, I think, and they've been losing units left and right the entire game. But it's interesting actually to follow how both players work on their composition. We see SOS adding on a bunch of Immortals there, whereas Harstem is still very Colossus-orientated.
I think the fact that Harstem has a double Robo is still a massive edge going into this phase in the game, because getting a perfect mix between Colossus and Immortals and Archon fight there. 121 army supply against
What's the
117.
Colossus count for both?
I think a small lead for SOS, right?
Harstem is up by 1, 10-9.
Okay. Oh man, no
SOS DTs are
cannon.
so sick, by the way. Every time they get out, it's perfectly on time before they die.
Yeah, that one DT has been alive as well for a while. 133 arm supply against 121. You gotta say, you kind of like it again for Harstem, right? But of course, it will all come down to the Colossus positioning, you know.
I can't believe SOS is playing like this without Mothership Core. If he gets in trouble, if he gets trapped on this side of the map, if he has to fight, he's gonna be, I guess, losing his entire army here potentially, or having to win the game right there and then. Harstem, he's got as much army supply here. He wants to try and get a good engagement here this time around.
Feedback. If Harstem had 1 High Templar there, he could have dropped the feedback and that would have been crucial. And it felt like SOS was looking for a feedback, but then he morphed those 2 High Templars into an Archon. It's very tense right now, and it's very difficult for both players to decide, you know, what is my cue? When do I truly want to fight? Because, you know, you run into a time warp, you get a couple of free swipes from your opponent's Colossus and you're done. You're toast.
So crazy, yeah. Literally.
French toast.
It's crazy how this game has been action-packed, but somehow they made it both to 4 bases.
And double Robo, and well upgraded armies.
Can we look again at the composition? Because army supply, like, they're maxed out potentially here, both players. So 10-9 Colossus.
7 Stalkers for SOS though, that's kind of useless.
Yeah. 5 Immortals against 2, though. That's not bad.
No, that's not useless.
Well, where's the Phoenix? Did he forget about it?
No, it's on the left side of the map. It's guarding that pylon, making sure the pylon doesn't take off. I mean, these Stalkers, I'm glad that SOS is getting rid of them, of his composition, but they are still being very annoying. They're forcing a lot of cannons, they've got a couple of probes, they're forcing a lot of defensive Zealot warp-ins, and you don't want to have too many Zealots. Like, Zealots are great to reinforce, but you don't really want to start the fight with too many Zealots.
It looks like he's grouped his observers with his army, which is what early almost cost him the game.
A couple of Colossus were running away from the battle. I mean,
Harstem needs to put one of his observers, I think, on follow here, or keep his Oracle alive, because Dark Templars here could come into play once again.
That's an excellent point.
These Stalkers are so annoying.
Yep, there's still 1 or 2 Zealots there. That's you and me, Todd, in the club. Harstem is
rushing in.
Harstem is gonna run to the left bottom side of the map. These Stalkers will just die over here against all these cannons. This is a great pickup, Todd. Getting this base, he could potentially kill it with a couple Zealots, just leave 1 or 2 Zealots behind. I love it, man.
Harstem got worried they was gonna get attacked from behind here.
Alright, he has a pylon over there as well.
Expanding up there.
He has
he's
a pylon.
reinforcing from that other side. He's gonna warp in from the north and attack in the south.
This would be a great moment actually for Harstem to fight, because he can warp in those Zealots from the north. He's hitting from the south with the main army. I really like this engagement for Harstem. He's actually crushing as the West. I think. Look at all his Colossus. They're still looking so healthy.
Oh, but there's a bunch of Immortals.
Yeah, the Immortals are a problem though. Oh god.
Yeah, Harstem is getting crushed here. He's gonna have to call GG.
Wow.
And he gets out of the game here. SOS.
Wow.
After a very action-packed game, finally force an engagement in his favor.
I'm actually shocked that that final fight went the way it did. It felt like it was a perfect moment for Harstem to fight. Harstem obviously felt the same way, because he had that pylon. Sorry guys, we were still, you know, kind of intrigued by the game. Because he had that pylon on the north side. There were a bunch of Colossus shooting at the right bottom. I'm not sure what they were shooting at. Maybe reinforcements.
Buildings.
I guess everything that was good for Harstem about that fight was good for SOS as well. But Harstem had more Colossus.
Yeah.
He had better upgrades still, because he was on 3-2. A little bit unfortunate there that it didn't work out the way. Like you mentioned, man, those Immortals survived. And even though Harstem's composition looked very good on paper, 5 Immortals against only 2, I guess that was the difference in the end.
If you go across the map like this, it feels almost as if like Colossus, they're always like attacking buildings. If you're not really careful with them, it's very hard to take like a proper engagement. It's almost as if like we need 2 kind of Colossus, green Colossus and red Colossus.
I'm not very well informed about this joke, but I'm starting to get the hang of it, and it sounds ridiculous.
Not too many people know it.
I still think that's a game that Harstem can be very proud of, Johan. I think Harstem played very well, like putting up such a fight against sOs, putting himself in a favorable position multiple times, being ahead in upgrades, being ahead in economy.
It's the most disappointing kind of game to lose, though, I feel like, because...
Especially after sniping that base, it was almost like, of course you can ask yourself, does Harstem really have to take the fight when he just kills the 4th base? And I'm not going to say, like, oh, he shouldn't, because I just thought it was a great idea to take that fight. I take full responsibility for my mistake over there. But I do think you make a very good point there. The moment you're behind enemy lines with Colossus turn into very derpy units. You attack move with them, and they shoot at everything and nothing at the same time. While... if you right-click with them, then you're going to have massive overkill. And if you have 10 Colossus, there will be a bunch of Colossus that will try to bypass each other, because not all 10 can shoot at the same target at the same time. So
in the situation you guys in, you need to keep the sentries back as well in the start, because surely like your opponent having Blink is going to be getting right in there and trying to snipe the sentries. And then if you don't have hallucination, like if sOs plays it passive here with his Blink, Harstem just sends a hallucination across the map. He sees the Dark Shrine on time, gets ready with cannons and zealots in his mineral lines. DTs do absolutely nothing, and then you're in a great position.
It was just an awesome game, though. There were a lot of back and forth moments. There were moments where I thought Harstem was in control. There were moments where things started to look better for sOs. There were a lot of clutch moments, with that robotics facility dying 0.1 second before the observer pops, but then saving the Stargate with the force field. So just overall a really cool game. Unfortunately for Harstem, he wasn't able to close it out in the end, but he played pretty damn awesome.
I think he didn't have to fight here at the end, really.
Yeah, no. I mean,
he was taking a base there as well. What was that?
Looking back at it, obviously, I agree with you, but I can't fault him for thinking it was a good moment to fight. He's ahead in upgrades, and he has a pylon above the army of sOs. Normally, that's like a dream scenario, because that's a lot of people like to throw in a warp prism and then fly the prism over the army and warp in behind the army. But I guess sOs was doing the exact same thing with warping in units from the south of Harstem's army. Even though I really enjoyed the game. I thought it was a great game overall.
It was. Now we are on Terraform for map number 2. Harstem wants to bring it back. Predicted a 2-0. It's the double intro. It is Invasion Gaming's Harstem.
Well,
sorry.
That cameraman was as confused as you were. He's like, is he going to introduce Harstem? No, he's going to go to sOs. And then he went back to Harstem. I do hope that Harstem got some confidence out of that game. You can see he's a little bit irritated, I think. I think he knew that he was in a pretty decent spot on Coda.
I thought you were the only one that was defeatist.
But he's going to have to shake it off. Shake it off.
You think he wants to have fun in the club?
Over here in the right bottom
it's
side.
Going too far.
Of Terraform, we have the Protoss that's ridiculously good lately, and perhaps has always been. It is sOs. Probably a little bit surprised though about how good of a fight Harstem put up in game number 1.
Nah, he played Blink not too long ago, man. He knew. These European Protosses, they are beasts.
Yeah, the power of the European Protosses.
When he has to play Rain or CJ Hero, he doesn't shake one bit. But when he has to play European Protoss, he's like, oh god, it's that time again. I need to play 100% tasteless.
He's gonna give it all he's got. And then he asks Harstem what games you've been playing lately. And then Harstem says Battletoads. And then sOs gets very confused.
No, tasteless retired from Battletoads.
That's true.
Thought we made that clear.
But he says he's going to pick it up again one day. Because Tasteless said that before he dies, he wants to complete Battletoads. Tasteless actually had this conversation with us. Like, he's like, I'm going to be like, 85. I'm going to be laying in the hospital. He's like, wish I finished Battletoads, man. Like, if I could do one thing all over again, I'd finish that game. So
it'd be his one wish.
Yes.
Harstem, 2+3 on the gas this year so far.
I think a straight up Blink opening over here for Harstem. He tried a very unique build in that previous map. I did like his build, especially against a top player like sOs. I definitely think it worked out for him, even though perhaps a tiny bit too sloppy with the Immortals, leaving the Immortals a tiny bit exposed. But it's a very tricky scenario, because either you put the Immortals in the back of your army and Blink Stalkers will pick off a sentry, a Stalker at a time, or you put them in the front and then you allow them to be exposed for a big forward Blink. So I don't fault him too much for it.
You think just Blink against Blink here this game?
Yeah, why not? Well, SOS opening over the Stargate. I didn't really pay attention to SOS's opening, but I do think that SOS is going to go
no?
Oracle. No. Well, he's the king of mind
down
games.
with his ship.
Yeah. Maybe Oracle into Blink over here. That seems like an SOS build. Very standard build, of course, in PvP as well. While Harstem is going to go straight up Blink. Why not? It's good against everything. The worst thing, that's very smart by Harstem. He sends him, now cancel it, you know, after he double confirmed. Just when you're sure that he's going to go Stargate.
It was a super fast Stargate, by the way, by SOS, before Mothership Core or Stalker. So
cancel for a Nexus and a Robo. That's
actually, that's one of the best things you can do, I feel.
Because you know your opponent is going to go Twilight against your Stargate.
What is he going to make?
Phoenix.
Why is there a probe here?
A Robo.
Already? Yeah, actually. Usually you see double gateways being added on for more units to make sure that you don't die. In this case, it's a gateway and a Robo.
Yeah, I love this. I mean, if he's going to make multiple Phoenixes over here, you know, 3-4 Phoenixes, and then just get one Immortal out and expand, I kind of hope that's what SOS is going to do.
Skipped entirely on the Mothership Core, though.
It's a Roddy build, mate. This is a Roddy build pure saying. I'm not bragging, but...
For once, it's the actual Roddy build.
Yeah.
Unless it wins the game, then it becomes the tasteless build.
And we will find a tasteless secret hallway on Terraform as well, don't worry. Maybe on the north side, you know, where we have all the bushes. This would be a great scout for Harstem as well. He's going to see no Mothership Core.
I can't believe he sneaked in there when there was Stalker. He's going to see everything.
Going to see the Robo. Just a single Phoenix, though. This is not a true Roddy build. I would already have 3 Phoenixes.
It's a funny mind game that SOS is playing, but he was completely scouted entirely here. I don't think he wants to go into any additional Phoenixes.
I don't understand why
I think he wants to bait a lot of Stalkers and get Immortals to counter them, and then just expand. And then if Harstem moves out, then you just pick them up and kill a lot.
I still think he can make 3 to 4 Phoenixes, though. I don't think you have to stop at 2, even when your opponent is going for Blink. I think because then when the Stalkers go aggressive to the other side of the map, then you can actually pick them up. But if you only have 2 Phoenixes, it's going to be very easy for your opponent with Blink Stalkers to focus down those Phoenixes and then just start dancing forever. If Harstem can get a Phoenix here, that would be massive. Gets incredibly close, but doesn't get it in the end.
Put it really low, but lost a bunch of probes. SOS not doing too bad here. Harstem this time around is going to be the one with the Blink tech.
I'm taking notes over here, Todd. How to actually play Phoenix. I've played 7,000 games with Phoenixes, but SOS is already teaching me things.
Well, last I checked, he's never beat you with Phoenixes when you went Phoenixes. So.
Who, SOS?
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, we've never played, but... Flawless record, you know? I played against Rain a bunch of times, though. That didn't go very well. Even when I had a Phoenix against Oracle opening.
You were too starstruck, weren't you?
Yeah, actually, I was a little bit. I did something very stupid that I would never do against anybody else, but because it was Rain, I felt I had to do something stupid, and obviously it backfired.
Okay, you'll get him someday.
Keep the dream alive. Maybe when Rain is like 38 and he hasn't touched StarCraft in like 9 years, I will knock on his door in Korea and be like, yo, you
it would be the same circumstances you beat me in when we played that one time.
Oh, Todd. Oh, Todd. I just feel like all these comments are coming off the recent poker victory I had over you.
Wow.
I feel, you know, before that you were such a kind guy.
You know, that's... Never lucky baby rage is all I'm going to say. You know what?
Oh, I watched the VOD, man. That was just, I don't want to bring it too harsh, but I kind of felt it was hashtag outplayed.
Kappa.
Just joking, Johan. Robotics facility going down for Harstem as the Forge is being wiped in for SOS.
That's a very late robo, actually.
But
I wonder if it will come into play, like, in the long run, you know, because like you're behind on the Immortals, then you're behind on Colossus.
I do like the way that Harstem is playing this, though. I recently had this conversation with a couple of other European Protoss. I think the best thing you can do with Blink Stalkers against Phoenixes is actually not apply pressure and be defensive. Lilbao said this as well, as Lilbao laughed at me when I thought that Phoenix is decent against Blink. It's because most Protoss players that are not at the absolute top level, they have the feeling they have to be aggressive against Phoenix when they open up with Blink Stalkers, but it actually almost never works. The best thing you can do is just be defensive and probe up, and that's what Harstem is doing, and I like that thought.
Both players are really putting a lot of effort into their scouting here, and the robo base not gonna be that late, to be honest, for Harstem, because SOS really delayed his. He wanted to go for a lot of Immortals before.
It's because as a Phoenix player, you're always a tiny bit worried. You have to worry about that aggression, right? Whether or not it's coming, you don't really know that, but you have to make sure that you have enough units, and if you rush up to Colossus, there could be a moment where you don't have enough Immortals or anything similar.
Harstem is much earlier on the +1 though. 4 additional gateways are going down right now for SOS. I wouldn't be surprised if we just went into a third base scenario here for both players, seeing as how they're perfectly matched in the walker count and army pretty close as well.
I totally agree with you. I think when it's a dead even game and you're both on 2 bases, the player that's going to attack will end up losing 99% of the time. Unless you attack into me, then there is a good chance you win.
We've seen actually Protosses like Neeb, Lilbo back in WCS when they had like a 10 to 15 to 20 army supply lead doing very successful attacks.
Yeah, but
which most players don't go for, but somehow they were able to pull off very nicely every time.
But there is no army lead here for either player, so I think just going up to 3 bases is the more solid call.
Yeah. No, I mean like later down the line, if like one of them tries to cut corner and has a little bit less army, there is a chance we see an attack.
Of course,
usually it's very risky though.
If one guy goes up to 3 bases and you drop 4 extra gates in your main, and you just only focus on wiping in units. But what was that ridiculously close PvP that we recently saw on Terraform as well? Was it with Wellemu in Poland, round of 16? There was a game that was so close. You remember when it came down to like the absolute final moments and
Mana? Against Elfie?
Yeah, Mana Elfie, exactly. And there we saw it as well. We saw how difficult it is to attack, you know. Even when things look like it's going really well, it's very hard to close the deal when you're a 2-base Protoss.
Yeah, but that was the hero Oracle that came back in and like sniped the Colossus. That was like, I feel like a one-time thing though.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy, that
of
one
course.
game.
Yeah, but I mean, also the start of the fight was a dream scenario for Elfie, so he did get a good start. Huh?
Harstem, he's got +2 halfway through done, when SOS just finished +1, so that's going to be a really nice upgrade lead here that he's going to have in this game.
How many kills did these Phoenixes get? Can we click on them real quick? I feel like they both got like 3 or 4 kills. Both 2? Still pretty solid.
Here we were thinking that Trap is the wing commander. SOS comes in.
I mean, he's not done yet.
Fox himself.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. He's got 6-7 kills. He got so much map vision out of these Phoenixes. Makes it very hard for Harstem to decide, you know, what he should do. Even has to be careful with his observers because Phoenixes are very useful in sniping observers as well. Okay,
We're all the second robo.
That's the end of the Phoenixes.
As we hype them, like literally 10 seconds later.
I feel I'm a jinx today, Tom.
Well met.
I mean, Harstem has cut worker production a little bit here. He's only 5-6 workers behind. He's running across the map. He will have +2, but I don't think he has charge, while SOS does have charge. So Harstem has to be very careful. It will all come down to the engagement. Could be a couple of Archons in the mix as well. First Archon is going to go down. I think this is a difficult fight for Harstem.
But
a very,
since he
very
went
difficult
for
one.
a bunch of Stalkers, if he can use them to bait some Colossus shot by blinking them on the sides, this could really come in handy. But yeah, SOS is... His immortal count here makes it really, really scary here, his army in this case.
Yeah, I'm very worried. I think it's hard in general to engage over here, especially when your opponent has 2 bases to warp in from. Photonoid Time Warp could go down over here on top of Harstem's army. There we go. I love the Time Warp by SOS. He has charge as well, and this should be a good fight for him.
The Colossus is getting targeted. SOS here really putting some serious work with the target fire of his Colossus. He's reinforcing with more Zealots. Remember, the charge just finished, so they're going to be getting right in there. Manually targets one of the Colossus and snipes it as well.
Yeah, I love that move by SOS. He still has that one Archon, tries to save it. He shouldn't overextend it. You have to be very careful. Don't fight too close to your opponent's pylon. But I think so far SOS put up a masterclass of how to defend a big Protoss attack.
He's getting chased down though a little bit here. If Harstem was able to snipe some of these Colossus, it would be great for him. But in the end, SOS turns around. He's got Zealous coming in. That Immortal is going to go down here in a second. Yeah. And with 4 Colossi
and
against just the 2, Harstem might just be going out of the tournament here.
Yep, unfortunately it's not going to be another quarterfinals appearance for my fellow Dutch Protoss, as SOS is just, you know, a little too good today as it seems. Harstem put up a very good fight, especially in game number 1, and he's still going to try to hang in there here in game number 2. He's going to warp in that desperation second robotics facility. We've all been there. He is still doing good when it comes to upgrades, actually. He's just down 30 army supply. That's a big problem. I think SOS is just going to counterattack.
I think ideally for Harstem here, he should have just scouted the army of SOS, realized it wasn't going to happen, and then just pull back because he was ahead on the upgrades. Could have done something with like a War Prism and a Dark Shrine as well himself.
I think it would even be better to attack from the south side over here on Terraform, because when you come in from the north, you always have to worry about units being warped in on the high ground, you know, at your opponent's 3rd base, and it becomes so tricky. And like you pointed out as well, SOS did such a good job in sending in 3 charge slots to manually kill that Colossus.
Being very good at setting up for fights in PvP can be everything. Like, you can be good at everything, but if you're bad at fighting and you crump up all of your units, you know, Colossus on top of Immortals with some Zealots really packed up against the Zealots, you're going to be in trouble no matter what against a very good and solid player like SOS. And in the end, I really feel like that's what's given him an edge this entire series, in particular in map number 1 as well.
I mean, the longer this goes on, of course, the more doable this becomes again for Harstem, because he is ahead when it comes to upgrades. He's been catching up in workers.
Double Robo could come in handy if it's
exactly
actually like properly kicked in.
If this just like I really feel that SOS gave Harstem a little bit too much respect there. I think he should have pushed the issue a little bit harder. He did so well. As we have an epic Zealot versus Zealot fight. Who's going to win? The red Zealot is going to win because he has better upgrades.
Oh, not yet.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it is. Actually, it's +2 against +1. Not bad.
And there's one Zealot.
Hashtag Roddy
No.
in the opponent's base. And Charge is actually going to complete now for Harstem, so he's going to have that work in his favor. The Warp Prism, though, threatening the main. I don't think there is much ready here for Harstem, if anything at all.
He does have a very well protected cannon. Photon Overcharge goes down immediately. Good reaction.
He was waiting for it.
Yeah, I like that by Harstem. Excellent defense so far. Storm is on the way for Harstem. That's interesting thought.
What?
Yeah.
That's really weird. You're not supposed to do this at this stage in the game. Usually when you go Storm, it's because you're going for that rain. Oh, it gets double Warp Prism as well. It's because you're going for that rain build, you know, where you go for a hidden Templar Archive somewhere on the map.
I think,
and then you go for Storm drops early on to try and cripple your opponent's economy.
I think double Prism is a mistake though. I think he only wants to make one.
Did he cancel one? I see only one now.
No, I think one pop. I mean, what he could do is keep one with the army, so he can warp in on top of SOS's army during a big fight and use the other one to harass. He can pick up those two High Templars. I mean, with a successful storm... No. Drop the Colossus.
I think Harstem is having such a hard time attacking into SOS that he wants to do a bunch of storm drops to do a lot of damage and force SOS to attack into him, in which case he's going to be in a good position to set up a concave and defend properly.
Well, he just picked up 4 Zealots, thought. I kind of thought he was going to drop a middle line as well. So be careful with this Warp Prism over here. It does spot the army. I mean, this is actually still a very, very doable game.
It's a decoy.
Sorry?
It's a decoy again. He wants to send Warp Prism in the main, keep SOS busy, and at the same time do a storm drop in the third base. Because against a Protoss as good as SOS...
But he's not showing any signs of wanting to storm drop. Unless he just warped in.
Why did he go storm then?
To storm on top of the army, I guess. Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised as well. I thought he was going to go for at least one storm. I don't think there's even many
High Templars like out on the map right now. It's
yes,
like
two. Just a couple storms. I mean, Storm can do damage. It's not like Storm is horrible, of course, in PvP. People often ask me about it, and it's not bad. It's just rushing up to it too early can really backfire, because then you just don't have the same amount of Colossus, or you're behind in upgrades and stuff. But if you are maxed out, if you have everything you desire, instead of having like 2 Zealots, having 2 High Templars with 4 Storms, you know, that is totally worth it.
It's everything you ever wanted, man. Dark Shrine's about to finish for Harstem, by the way. I think he waited for that to finish to go for the proper Warp Prism harassment, because then he's going to be able to warp in Dark Templars. There is no cannon in that gold base. And if this one gets sniped here, Dark Templars could do so much damage. Maybe even force a recall.
Yep, they could do a lot of damage over here, and they could do a lot of damage towards the gold base as well. He has to be careful that he doesn't warp in too many units. Where are the Dark Templars thought? Why is he not warping in any DTs?
Oh, they're here.
Okay. Yes, they are.
DTs have arrived.
He's gonna fly into the natural instead. Is there a cannon over here? There are 2 cannons being warped in, but they're a little bit late. Yeah. I would have loved to see 1 Dark Templar in the gold base thought. That would have been so massive.
Yeah, Harstem's doing damage. He's not actually taking this opportunity to try and move out with the rest of his army. Why didn't he send anything in the gold base?
I don't know. I just asked you that question, but you didn't answer.
That's what I ask it back, man. I'm giving you a shot to redeem yourself.
I don't know, Todd. I just don't have the answers to such complicated...
20 probes have been killed, by the way. SOS, I wonder if he just maxes out then, like he did in the previous game. How many Warp Prisms are there in this game? This is ridiculous.
Oh, he's flying on top of like 3 cannons now, but he's actually focusing the Zealots, not the Prism. The Prism makes it... doesn't make it out. Got so close.
Oh, he's gonna attack the gold at the same time though. Harstem with his main army trying to get a snipe on this. SOS is in position.
Well, SOS is doing the same thing on the other side of the map, giving him a taste of his own recipe. Harstem really needs a defensive observer, but goes for the massive recall instead.
PvP in a nutshell, man.
What is going on?
DTs, warp-ins, recalls, slugfest.
Observer is gonna be here in time to probably save this third base for SOS, even though it's running very, very low on HP, but he does save it. Man, what a series! Harstem has done such a good job. I kind of thought that Harstem was down and out almost after that failed attack, but
it's just like magic spells all over the place and very hard-hitting units. I feel like I'm watching Harry Potter over here or something. Like
ooh, are those units trapped?
Yeah.
No, they should be able to go via the south side, right? South side?
Protoss passing.
They are hugging each other so tight, man. SOS did say it was very cold in the venue. That Immortal was feeling it. He's like, warm me up, boys. If we had Pig here, Pig would be able to do excellent commentary on this. Yeah. It's giving us Immortals a cheeky hug, alright?
SOS is already ahead in army supply, and he's got less walkers, so if he just maxes out from here, he's gonna have such a scary maxed out army Remember the rank composition, man. Now that Tempest are pretty much useless in PvP unless you reach the very late game. 10 Colossi, 10 Immortals, rest in Archons.
I love that by sOs though. We saw that in game number 1. I'm not one that normally underestimates the power of the Immortal, but I thought that Harstem was going to have enough to turn it around, but those 5 Immortals truly reigned supreme in that big fight. And right now again... I mean, Tempest can still be good, but it's just not something you rush up to anymore.
sOs doing a little bit of dancing. That Fleet Beacon, man, it's time. It's funny because Harstem gets a Stargate at the same time, so they both want to go for that mothership here.
Double cannon. Tank Templars are not going to be strong enough to kill 2 cannons, but you know that one DT. Man, imagine if you would have gone for the Nexus, on the north side.
Maybe he tries now. Feedback. Wrecked arena.
Archons, boom, boom. Make a prism again. Immediately, make a prism.
It's funny, like it never ends. They just like counter-take each other in places. Gold base is now gonna start here for Harstem. We've got a shield upgrade completing for sOs.
18, 1900
Do you think they go
meters.
Tempest?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, carriers unless you're White Dra, but special tactics.
It's very hard to make Tempest work though.
I mean, like
you need to be really sick.
Yeah, you need to do a very good job in trading out your army supply very safely, right? Like a couple zealots here, a couple zealots there. But you do need a nice amount of Tempest. Like having 3 Tempests is not going to be enough. You need 6, 7 Tempests for sure.
Mothership starts for sOs.
Okay, so no Tempest maybe?
I mean, getting a mothership first usually is the standard, and then down the line, usually I feel like the good trigger to go into Tempest, unless you have a very passive game, is being on 5 bases, which both players are going into now.
I think this would be a great moment for us to attack.
What are these
this would be a great fight, because that mothership is morphing, so no time warps available, and that's a lot of supply that's not doing anything.
Oh my god, sOs gets a bunch of Unisnipes before the fight even begins.
Come on, Harstem, you gotta go for it. This is kind of your moment, man. Where is that mothership, by the way? Oh, it's over here. He's gonna spot it as well. Feedbacks, he kills it!
In one single feedback, one single strike. He's now chasing. Harstem's gonna storm on top of this Colossus. sOs cannot reinforce into the fight here.
What a great engagement over here by Harstem. Well, the Immortals are still... The Immortal count is so high for sOs, so I'm not gonna call this just yet. An Archon coming in from the south side. That looked like such a dream engagement for Harstem, though, Todd.
sOs is coming in from behind with more and more reinforcements. sOs always being ahead in army supply. This place played such a huge role. And Harstem kept on grouping his observers with his army. So his observers got snapped and DTs finish off the rest of his army. sOs wins game number 2 and moves on to the round of 8.
2 miraculous final fights over there. Again, I feel that that was as good as it would ever get for Harstem, right? He kills the mothership before the battle starts. He gets a couple of Archons for free. He drops the time warp on top of the army.
Supply, man.
And he storms up and he storms the entire army. And sOs is still like, well, I got 9 Immortals, buddy. What's up? And he just moves forward and he kills him.
sOs just too solid, I think, in this series. Really, map number 1, I really felt like should have gone Harstem's way, but in the end, sOs he's just hanging there the whole time. Even applying pressure when he had less army somehow, or his army looked less strong, less upgrades. Somehow being able to really hang in there up until the point he has a lead, and then he never lets go of it.
I mean, let's not forget that Harstem did make a big commitment in that big mid-game attack, and I kind of felt the game could have ended there if sOs would have just marched across the map, you know, with 5 Colossus and more units. Like, you're up 25, 30 army supply in PvP, and your opponent doesn't even have a time warp at home. That's good enough, you know, that's normally your moment to go. Instead, the game dragged out, and whenever you're maxed out, you always have a chance. And I especially think the longer the game goes, I think Harstem did a great job in sniping a lot of probes, sniping a lot of nexuses, harassing all over the place. But we all know the good old, you know, get protosed in PvP. Yes, that's a thing as well. You know, you kill a bunch of workers from your opponent, you think you're doing a great job, and then he shows up and he has 25, 30 army supply more than you do, and it's like, well, it seems like you're doing a good job, but at the same time it backfires because your opponent just has so much more than you do.
Yeah, and Harstem, it's not like he should be ashamed of this loss.
No,
here.
not at all, man.
He went toe-to-toe with sOs, much like our brother Bling.
Yeah.
Put up a good performance.
I mean, Bling did take the first map. So.
Yeah.
You know,
not too shabby.
No, not too shabby at all. But I totally agree with you, Todd. It's one of those series where, of course, it's frustrating to lose, especially because if we ask Harstem, he's gonna have the feeling that both games were very winnable, and I agree with him. Game number 2 a little bit rougher after that mid game. Game number 1 was very winnable. I think he was winning, but overall, you know, these are series that you can definitely take a lot of confidence from. It's a learning moment, and be like, all right, I'm getting close. You know, I'm really getting so close to duking it out in these guys in PvPs, not because of build order wins, but actually in the long game, you know, late game multitasking, taking care of prisms, harassing all over the place. It's just a solid performance by Harstem.
It's gonna be his year. Just you wait.
I can see it happen.
Okay, maybe not this year. Actually.
If you talk about an overdone hashtag, that's definitely in there as well.
Don't worry, Roddy in the club is going to surpass it, I'm sure.
No. Roddy in the club will actually end after this DreamHack and will be never used again.
Guys, keep it going.
No.
Make sure to keep on hashtagging this.
I believe
Roddy
Incontrol is almost ready, as we're going to have a small interview with sOs. I'm very curious to see what sOs has to say about it. I hope that he gives Harstem some compliments as well. And of course, big shout out to sOs, because it's not easy to win all these PvPs against those veteran European players. But he did do his duty in the end, continues his ridiculously hot streak of just winning pretty much everything, and perhaps even this tournament as well, Todd.
It's looking pretty good, that's for sure. Let's go and check in with our friend Incontrol, who's with sOs.
All right, thank you guys. Standing here with sOs, who just 2-0'd Harstem, but kind of close match. Obviously not in score, but in games, I felt like there was definitely moments there where Harstem was awfully close to perhaps taking a game or two. So I want to ask sOs about that. A lot of times in PvP, it's kind of seen as kind of a coin flip, a little bit random. Was there any time where you felt like you were in danger to lose to Harstem, or how did you feel about the match?
그래서 하스템 선수와 경기를 하는데 굉장히 좀 치열한 싸움이 많았죠. 그 싸움 중에서 혹시 질 수도 있겠다라는 생각을 하신 때가 있으신지?
저는 두 게임 다 제가 손이 좀 얼어가지고 에어컨 옆에 있어서 두 게임 다 힘든 게임이 되겠다 싶었는데 그래도 후전은 한방 싸움만 이기면 되니까 최대한 조합을 갖추는 식으로 했던 것 같아요.
So I was sitting just under the AC, so I felt a bit cold and my hands were a bit frozen. So I thought that the game was gonna be hard, but when it comes to Protoss against Protoss, it's just about winning the fight, the one fight. And so I was saving my minerals to find to build the right amount, the right composition to win the fight.
Very cool. Definitely those immortals were coming in handy at the end of those fights. The next question I want to ask you is that with the results, with Fantasy kind of dropping out, 4G not coming, and a few of the other results, it looks like sOs is just about 100% to go to BlizzCon. So I just want to get his thoughts on how important that is and what going to BlizzCon does mean for him, because it's the big StarCraft tournament.
그래서 이제 블리즈콘에 당첨되셔서 가시게 되는데 거기에 대해서 어떤 소감 한마디?
이번에는 꼭 가고 싶어서 이렇게 드림핵도 참가하게 됐는데 이렇게 블리즈컨 올라갔으니까 이제 편한 마음으로 할 수 있을 것 같아요. 이 드림핵을 제가 편한 마음으로 할 때 좋은 성적이 많이 나왔어가지고 내일 기대돼요.
So one of the reasons I came to DreamHack was just to gain this ticket to BlizzCon. So now I achieved it, and so I'm very happy, and also I feel relaxed to play the other games now. And usually when I feel relaxed, I usually get better results.
I think that's absolutely true. And last question for sOs before we let him go. I did notice that he is wearing an absolutely stunning tie. I really just have to know where you got that from. If you can talk to us about your tie and just where it comes from. Where'd you get that?
유니폼은 굉장히 예쁘고 좀 독특한데 이게 넥타이 뭐 그림 있잖아요. 어디서 구하셨는지.
구한 게 아니고 이거 달려 있는 거예요. 옷이랑 같이.
유니폼에
네.
이렇게 포함된.
저희 팀 그러니까 전무님께서 옷을 다 디자인해서 주셔가지고 입고 있는.
Yeah, so this is my uniform, and personally it was made by our boss. So he personally designed those and made them for us to wear.
It's a slick tie, guys. If you didn't notice, it's actually built into the shirt. It's much like a dickie. It is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. So thank you very much, sOs. Congratulations. Good luck. Guys, it's going to do it for us from right here. We're going to head back to a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to have another exciting match to determine who's going to go into round 2 tomorrow.